Hey folks, my name is Leonard. I'm the founder of Consciously Exposed Consulting. We are back talking about, entering the African market. We always talk about business opportunity in Africa, and this time I have one of our liaison man from Kenya. Done a lot of market research, travel back and forth because I think the goal here, with our firm and with our team and network is just position people, advise people just to understand how to enter the market, offer some tip and strategy. Yes, you want to introduce yourself to the folks?
All right. So my name is Paul Maturi, and I am the Kenyan liaison. Yeah, and I traveled to Kenya. I was born there, and I've just got an amazing chance to see how business operates over there. And that's really what I'm going to talk about.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you do, man. Which part of Kenya, was it Nairobi, Mombasa?
Oh, yeah, Nairobi, Nairobi.
Nice. Let me check on my Swahili, man. Jumbo? That's all I know.
Or-
It's good, man. But I can always Google the stuff though. But I think first in general, I think I want people to understand that when you talk about business opportunity in Africa, I mean it's good to always highlight the data because the data is clear. I mean, market size 2.5 trillion. What that means is that, the continent economy is worth 2.5 trillion, man. Just a growing fast market, big population. When you hear read 1.3 billion, I mean, it's just
Wow.
it's gonna double too by 2015, right? More customer, more worker, more innovation. That's why I think the continent of Africa is definitely has so much potential. And when you hear like fast growth, what comes in your mind, Paul? Like fast growth economy, like in general, when you hear like fast growth.
When I hear fast grow, I think in general, just like if you have any type of business,
Mm-hmm.
understand, for example, if you understand the cultural trends and the mindset,
Yeah,
you fast track your business. So if you have some traction over here, you see things that are working here,
yeah,
the way you can shift your mindset. And when you shift your mindset, then you learn more about the tradition of Kenya, because
yeah,
Kenya is like a very traditional country, like they're rooted in tradition.
yeah,
You shift your mindset. When you talk about fast growth, like you can like you can have something working here,
yeah.
but you if you understand fast growth, like you can have something working in Kenya and it could even be better than it could be
Gotta
over less.
No, that's a good point because I think it's basically comes down to fast growth. Just many African countries just have the some of the fastest growing economies in the world, and and it comes with, like you said, some cultural tradition, nuances. Just understand how to do business within those economy because it just come down to understand cultural nuances, right? And then when you hear booming sector, a lot of sectors like tech, agriculture, real estate, energy, fashion, finance. I think it's good for people to understand when they always ask, yo, well, what are some of the sector? And then you have existing big company. Like, people have to understand the data, man. There's a global giant like, Dangote, of course, in Nigeria, folks that we know, Safaricom. Income. There's a lot of business potential, a lot of billionaires across Africa, and then so much untapped potential. Many industry that's still developing, create space for new business investment. So yeah, I wanted to kind of talk it out rapid fire. But let's talk about Kenya though. So what would you say? I mean, give us one tip, man. Like what would you say is a tip one, a good tip just in entering the market, the Kenyan market through your lens, man? I know we always talk about the young people and you being there back and forth, but what's a good number one tip, would you say?
All right, so first tip, I was talking a little bit about it, but it's about understanding cultural trends and mindset. So
Mm,
Kenya is a country, it's deep rooted in tradition, but things are changing rapidly, especially with the youth. So
mm,
as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, you have to be aware of what's happening in the community. You
mm.
can't, yeah, you can't be doing your own thing and then you
I
think like,
know, right?
like
Up there,
you,
like, you're from the US. I mean, you go in there with your own business model from the US. Oh, yeah, you bring all that. I'm like, listen, we not in the US. Right.
yeah, you gotta dig deep. Like you really have to dig deep. You gotta talk, you gotta research, you gotta talk to the people, you gotta see what's going on social media. maybe you might have to do a couple of surveys, you might have to run a focus group, but you really have to do the research to understand the community.
Before you even talking about dish out money, so like to say market research. So you saying basically, yeah, localization. I was talking about localize. Understand the local. Talk to the people. I usually add, yeah, even the hire and one of the influencer in the local market, somebody. Because I know what was the thing that we always talk about in terms of what happened to KFC in Kenya? Remember we did mention that that
Oh,
the
yeah,
very
good.
and
That's
an
good.
example, yeah, because
That was a crazy situation, but it really highlights like this tip too that goes into it. Kenyan customers value authenticity.
why Kenya customer exactly, yeah. Who are the customer in Kenya? Who are the customer in Kenya? It's like the local market, the youth, but yeah. So that will be so. Tip number two, what would you say? How would you advise for tip number two?
So tip number two, it's a little bit more of a pivot away from tip one,
Mm-hmm.
but really just highlighting what's going on in terms of like the youth and in terms of just like preferences. And the tip two is you have to go digital first, right?
Mm.
Oh, it's a little bit different from over here, but I'd say Kenya's a mobile first country. And I say that because you have to look at how they pay.
For,
They utilize
for
this
money. Yeah.
system. It's called M-Pesa, right?
Impact. Yeah, that's very popular.
Very, very popular in Kenya, and everybody pays with their phone. It's similar to Apple Pay over here, but it's just like on such a large scale that like
Hmm.
75% of people use M-Pesa, and maybe like 25% or less they use cash when available. So M-Pesa is big. Like you pay with M-Pesa,
Hmm.
you paying for your gas with M-Pesa, like everything you're paying basically with M-Pesa. And then on top of that, digital platforms, WhatsApp is big. It's way bigger there than it is over here. So if you have a business, definitely consider using WhatsApp in terms of communication because
Mm.
everybody, if you want to communicate one-on-one with a customer or just as a group, WhatsApp is definitely like a good platform to utilize. And I've also noticed this Instagram, TikTok, those two platforms, even Facebook to a different like degree, but Instagram, TikTok, people start following you, people know about you.
Mm.
And like you put a location on there or you just put like your service or your website on there, people have a way to get to you because it's a mobile first country.
That's dope. I think that which means that if you're a small business in the US, entrepreneur, so you can really basically focus on, brand visibility, create, visibility and market your brand through just understand the local need, the communication, become popular. Next, and you can collaborate with the local market, with the youth. So your brand can become visible. But I think I hear you say at the same time, just be mindful of what's going on locally too, because meet also their need. Because that's the thing trying to tell people that we have to realize localization is important. Collab with them, partner with them, because if you partner with them on solving some of the local needs, I think that's also big. Because I know that that's really across the continent too. Because don't just come in that sector country doing business, but partner with us, right? Localize too. I
Exactly.
think that's yeah, go ahead.
Back to that KFC example. So what really happened with that situation?
Yeah, yeah.
Let's go a little bit deeper. All right, so this is an amazing example, but it just shows that Kenyan customers, they value authenticity. You can't just come here and do your own thing. You have
Mm,
to find a way to be able to give back. So what happened in the situation was KFC is a global brand, right?
yeah.
They come in, they build the KFCs in Kenya, right? But now the potatoes, right? They're French fries, or we call them chips, but the potatoes that they're using, right? They were outsourcing them. They're getting from like their main supplier, and then they're trying to ship them out to Kenya. And then Kenyans did not go for that. Kenyans are like just like they're legit like they were boycotting KFC.
Mm,
They didn't
wow.
they did not like KFC because what they saw was you're not supporting our farmers.
Mm,
We have potatoes here. How come you're not buying potatoes from here? Why do you have to go
woo, they were now playing.
ship them all the way over here? So in terms of trust, if you want to build trust with the community, with the Kenyan community, you have to partner with them. They have to do big and small things to
Mm.
show, hey, like I'm here to be a part of the community. I'm not just here to take.
Nah, that's across the continent. You got 54 countries. Even though different countries, have a different economy and then they won't be the same operating somewhere, I don't know, in Chad or Nigeria, Congo. That's very clear. I mean, some of the big economy we know, Nigeria, South Africa. But I think the message is pretty clear across the board that it's trust, partnership. Right. And I think the more you do that, you're gonna have an entire community and then consumer just behind your brand. Next thing you know, that's how you're gonna grow. Now this is some good tip, man. What would you say final one? The third one.
Final tip. So it's kind of incorporating everything we've talked about, but
Yeah.
and the main thing is learn and incorporate local interests. So what does that
Mm,
means? Building a learning mindset. Entering the Kenyan market, it's not just about selling products, it's about learning and evolving.
mm,
Preferences, they can change quickly. So you got to be open to feedback. And you also have to be tapped into the community and be able to shift when you see something changing. And
absolutely.
you got to build relationships too. So you never know, like one relationship can open a major door. Maybe it's
Man.
with a supplier, maybe it's with a community, maybe it's an influencer over there. But networking is essential for growth.
Yeah, amazing. That makes sense. It's just I think to really emphasize on the point that relationship, trust, build with the local, because the reality, I think, when it comes to entering the African market, I think, big company and multinationals or government just always focus so much on infrastructure and minerals but don't realize that that's not just it, man. You can't just building the economy cannot just be about infrastructures and big, large projects. And we know it's key, but localization matter. You got to diversify your sectors. So many sectors to tap in, because I know in the big cities, man, whether it's like the Lagos and Kinshasa and Senegal and Dakar, Senegal, it's like outside of that, there's so many untapped potential. So I think it's important to bridge that gap between don't forget the locals. Localization do matter. Don't forget the cultural nuances, cultural intelligence. Um, but yeah, well, that was our segment in terms of Kenya. This is some great tip. Thank you so much for sharing.